I remember you. In the mountains.
Hey guys, Tyler here, and we are back with another episode of our award-winning, at least maybe in my head, podcast, In the Mountains. I'm so glad that you guys checked out this video. Do you want to hit the button?
Oh yeah,
Hit the button.
I'm late on the button. I'm sorry.
He had one job,
One job.
and he nailed it flawlessly.
Nobody noticed.
Nobody at all. But I
Nobody
appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And I didn't write it down in my notes. Is this episode 5? 4? One of those two numbers. Maybe it's 6. I went to Maryville is the high school I went to. We called it Missouri's finest sports academy because that's all that we cared about. That's why I'm not very good at the maths. So we're going to say it's 4, 5, or 6. But either way, I appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. And we have a lot to talk about. We've been, riffing off of each other for a while here before we were actually recording. But we are going to be talking about our Mythic Plus experiences so far. We are recording this at the very end of week 2 officially for season 3 of Dragonflight Mythic Plus, and also week 2 of the Amirdrasil raid. So we'll hit the intro, we'll get to going, and again, thank you guys for checking this out. So we have Zaft here with us, and Mr. OBS himself over here, Glitch, is gracing us with his visual presence once again.
For now.
Keep those donations coming.
For later.
It's all of your donations that you guys provide. Make sure that this guy's lights stay on, and so that means his webcam works. So, thank you.
Keeps his camera going.
But if you want it to go away, more donations.
It does require more donations.
Yeah. But anyway, how are you guys doing tonight? I know we've been. Just to give you guys an idea at home, we just got out of the best Mythic Plus key that we've done so far this season. We didn't time it, but we were this close. But how are you guys feeling? How are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Feeling great,
Good.
actually. Yeah.
I feel like that key went pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, here we are talking about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, and then later on, I'm looking forward to the segment where we tell you who we blame.
Gonna be me. It's all my fault. It actually is. I'm fully my.
No, well, spoiler alert on that, because it will be a video that I will put out here on YouTube, hopefully by the end of this week. I exploded a few times because this thing called bursting, and Marksman does some pretty good burst damage, and I may have killed myself.
Bursting.
I know. So you guys have that to look forward to. It was again, it was a plus 18 untimed. What is? I keep wanting to say Underrot. I'm still in last. Everbloom. There we go. I'm still in last season. Still didn't get that Krog, so I'm still a little upset about that. Anyway, we had such a great experience in there. Really, like the beginning of the week, we had, I'm not going to say a bad time, at least my half of the group that was in there, but it took us like 50 some minutes to clear a 17, and we went in there and almost completed on time the 18. So great job,
Less than
you
a
guys.
minute over time.
Less than a minute, definitely.
Less
And
than a minute.
if you get rid of the deaths and the time that we wasted, we would have probably got there. But also, and I told them this at the end of the run dungeon, that thing.
Enter the dungeon.
Enter the rungeon, yes. Had we have not had bursting this week, that was it. More so than I could have done more damage, I could have done this, didn't die. Whatever. No, if we didn't have bursting, which I know, I get it, that's the affix, we would have made it no problem. So I'm really excited to get that key in 2 weeks and make it our own, because we are going to be hitting those 18s, 19s, and 20s like every week very, very soon.
Hopefully.
So yeah, I mean that is the
will.
goal. Get those heroic.
I think we're trending in that direction.
Yeah, get those hero track items, and then we are gonna only go up from here.
Plus, how many 4 pieces are kicking on next week?
Well, I guess that's a good segue. Is that talking about those 4-piece, because in Mythic Plus, when you get Keystone Master or 2000 rating, you do get a free tier piece. And we actually did a little bit of like calculating just before we started the stream, and we have, I mean, for all 3 of us, we're at or just under 2200 rating, which for us at least, not to say that we don't do the keys, but we definitely do, but we are doing stuff so early this tier. And
Yeah.
that means that free tier piece that you get, which by the way is an Omni tier piece, can be either of the 5 slots. It's making it so we're getting our tier pieces and our tier 2 and 4 sets so much earlier. And just for me, and again, I always look at things from a marksman hunter point of view. 2 set is huge. Like if you look at mythic logs, like marksman's literally the bottom because there's so many people who still don't have 2 and 4 set. And I know I don't think we're going to go all the way to the top, but that's such a great feeling to be able to be like, you know what? No, week 2, I went in, power creep hit me real early, and I was able to get that damage. And so all 3 of us have our extra free piece of tier gear. And then how many did we say? I think we have 7 people in guild already.
So Bitcoin Raider IO, I know we got somebody. I know we got going.
Yeah,
got
going.
his
Also,
KSM
shout out to going.
from that
Nice
run.
job, my friend, getting that KSM so early.
Yeah.
That's only going to help us tomorrow, because speaking of tomorrow, we also have Catalyst that's kicking in. So if, like for example, I got a hero piece at the end of that Everbloom, which by the way, Glitch, if you need it and you want a hero helm, mine, I already have a champion helm, so if you need that, I'll give that to you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sick.
yeah, you're like, oh great, I'm leaving.
All right.
Goodbye. But we have so many items so early, and that's going to be kind of the theme of this conversation with you guys, is that we have so many fresh faces. Let's face it, fresh faces to Mythic Plus that are getting KSM for the first time. Hell, we even have people that haven't played the game in 4 years that are almost to KSM already, playing what most people consider garbage specs. But they're enjoying what they're doing. We're doing group keys together, keeping that gear in the guild, and people are learning. Like heck, we did a walkthrough of the Everbloom just before we did the key, and we're like, you know what? Let's just walk through it. Let's see exactly what pulls are going to look like and how we're going to do that. And we almost timed a key, like flat out almost timed it.
I think by taking that time and really like sitting down with people and being like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. Um, it helps a lot, especially for some of these older keys. And if you're planning on running keys and you're just getting in there for the first time, take the extra like 5 minutes to literally just walk through the dungeon. You don't need MDT to be like, this, like it helps so that way you know percentages. But if you have just one person who like has an idea of the route, they can literally, especially for the older dungeons, because you can just one shot trash in there at Mythic 0. You can just walk through and be like, okay, we're gonna pull these things and then these things and then this and go this way. Okay, cool. And then we wrap around here. Like it helps. So that way anybody else who's coming in with you is like, they're like not blindsided of like, oh crap, like we're like, oh, we're
What is
pulling
that?
that mob. Yeah. Or
Where we going?
or sometimes like there are mobs that like they'll do a knockback, and I know for some of melee I'll see them get knocked into another mob and they're like, oh crap, like I pulled that, sorry. And it's like, no, don't worry, that has to be pulled anyway. Expediting the pull a little faster, that's fine. It needs to be pulled.
Yeah.
As long as you're not getting knocked into something we don't need, that's fine.
Right. Well, you made a good point. I'll interject here really quick. I am a very visual person, and MDT is a great tool. It is, but there is nothing quite like seeing the pack that you're going to pull. So you can tell me, oh, these 8 circles are this pack, but until I see how many petals and how many of the choking vine guys are actually there, like actually seeing them, that makes a world of difference for me when I am plotting out my cooldowns, for example, or what to look for interrupt, CC, that sort of thing.
Yeah. If there's any advice that I can give to tanks who are trying to advance into like higher and higher runs, it's consistency with your pulls, especially if you're running with the same like group of people, especially if you're running with friends and you're in the dungeon. Just being consistent and being like, this is what I'm doing. So that way, when I do Everbloom again, I mean, Everbloom, we're actually going to change the route on that a little bit. But like, Blackrock Hold, I can pull everything from 3rd to 4th boss, and we know that we're going to make that pull. Like as soon as Glitch tells me we're pulling the full bullpen, we're
The
bullpen.
we're doing the full
bullpen.
bullpen. We're doing the full bullpen. We're pulling every single guy up there, and we're just doing that. And everybody's on board. Everybody knows what's going to happen. So consistency with tanking, I think, is it's a tough thing to do. But once you've like found a route that works for you, just stick to it. Just stick to something.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like it helps with cooldowns. Cooldown
Yeah.
management is a big thing, and not just like offensive but defensive. You know,
Yeah.
if we start pulling, like just using Everbloom again as an example, just because we just ran it.
Just got
If we find out that hey, we get to that first pack after Witherbark or whatever his name is, I think it's Witherbark, the first boss, and we figure out, hey, nobody's got defensives, nobody's got offensives, we have no cooldowns.
Yeah.
Maybe we should take a moment, maybe do a Dread Petal pack real quick for a minute, let stuff come back before we start getting fucking nasty, you know.
Yeah.
Again, so stuff like that. Once you figure out, you know, your spacing for things, and once you become consistent with it, it really helps. In particular, because everybody knows what everybody else is doing at that point. That really helps.
And this may seem like, you know, oh, these guys all run with each other, so like of course it's gonna help. But like even if you're doing pugs, like just by being consistent in pug groups, like you make a consistency for yourself, and people will be like, oh crap, like this is somebody who is gonna do the same thing every time. I can plan around that. And people are gonna want to run with you. You know, you're gonna meet more people if you're just consistent with your pulls.
Yeah.
That being said, try and make friends.
Try and make friends. Try like
Friends
So
I
helpful. Get a guild, please, God.
please get a guild. I mean, like, how about join a Discord like Greeley's, and join it. Find a. There are so many streamers who do like community keys, and it may seem like daunting, but the worst you can do is just be like, "Hey, I'm trying to get KSM and I don't have anybody to run with. Can I run with somebody in this group? Can I do this?" Like it was one of like the Shadowlands seasons. I took like a huge break and then I came back right at the end. Everybody was done. Everybody got KSM was done. And I powered through, found Twitch streamers, got community keys, and I ended up with KSM by the end of that season because of that.
There are options out there, and really any I don't want this to sound bad. Any player can go get KSM if they want to. You can go in and you can learn. You can find.
Is that bad?
I don't know. Like I want people to be look. So some people are like, oh well, you know, this is a big thing. Blah blah. I'm like, I don't want to say it. I don't want to discredit it because it's a big deal. It is.
You don't want people to feel like I didn't get KSM and that makes me not a good player. That's not true. If you like
really
if
you put the time in and you even if you have terrible untimed runs left and right, that's still getting you progress because you're learning dungeons, you're learning what not to do. I'm real good at that. Don't stand here, don't get killed over here, don't disengage. Yeah. But there's little things.
A bad time to release.
Right. Well, yeah.
That's not like a jab at somebody. That's just I just like to point it out.
Well,
Maybe that wouldn't be a problem if graveyards were better.
The graveyards do need to be better. Right to Blizzard, kidnap Ian.
Don't do that. We don't advertise.
We do not condone.
I do not condone this. The thoughts of the podcast are not necessarily the thoughts of Mr. Eggplant. Just putting that out there.
The Patreon tier hasn't been reached yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
donate, kidnap.
If you want, that's fine. I won't say no.
Cancel.
But like I say this in a lot of my Mythic Plus runs, there is no bad key. You can literally never have a bad key because let's say it goes absolutely terrible. Yeah, Taldozar, exactly.
I didn't say anything.
Anyway, you can have an absolute abysmal key, die 100 times, hit that Yasuo 100 death like boost to your damage, and I'm glad you got that. But you're learning what not to do, and you're learning how to avoid things because you got hit with it 100 times or whatever. It happens. You have bad keys. Like I have bad keys freaking all the time, where I feel like crap and I feel like I'm doing terrible and I'm doing this, that, and the other. But then I have to just step back and realize, well, I learned about, you know, for example, in the Everbloom, I did. Barry was our healer in the 17 we did at the very beginning of the week without these two. But Barry was healing for us, and I got murked if I just didn't have any sort of cooldown like defensive on my part or like any big heal from him whenever the third boss does her Inferno. I would just flat out die. I have a 458 item level. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit lower than I would like, but I have 650k health or higher, and I shouldn't be dying to that. But I died. Took us 50 some minutes to get through the key. Flash forward 3 days later, we just missed the timer on an 18. Yeah, we missed it by 49 seconds, I think. But
Yeah.
we didn't have any deaths on that fight, and we had probably 10, I'm not joking, like 10 or 15 deaths, and we wiped like 3 times last go around. And this go around, I learned, and I even told Barry, hey, I have 4 defensives, including my I guess technically 5, including my potion. But I'm like, I have these 5 things. I'm going to be using them. This is what I'm using first, second, third, and then my oh crap turtle at the very end, which I did need. And just like I had to have that bad key to know what I need to do to have a good key. And so that's my soapbox. But there's literally no bad keys. You can always learn, if nothing else, what not to do.
Oh yeah. I think if you're like there's a certain amount of knowledge that you get from going in and like blasting a 13 or something and just like annihilating a smaller key. But there also is something to be learned from going into a high key and getting annihilated, right? Going in there and being like, geez, like we wiped on this. And just like knowing where the limit is, right? I think we tried it was a 17 Murazon's Rise or something. We went in, we wiped on tier, and we were like, shrug, okay, let's just reset, come back, do this at a 16. And we did. Like it went, but like we were going in there and Barry was just like, hey, listen, like the damage profile for this, it's a little too high.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna. I don't think we're quite there yet. But that was something we learned. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just we got to do that. And then I think the next time that we went in, we did a Murazon's Rise. Not a single orb. It was the 17 that we did. Not a single orb hit.
Which,
like,
by the way, will be up on YouTube soon as well. Be sure and check that one out.
We were trucking. It's one of those things. Like we fail a little bit. We go in. It's like what happened with Vortex Pinnacle. We went in. We got annihilated, and then we were like, "This is a fun time. Let's go!" Like
I love this
Shield
key.
it was great.
By the way, we're gonna be doing that key a lot because I need mirror and I need the weapon out of there. So, and the mounts.
Oh yeah, that's right. Time to flex on the haters. How many mirrors are we up to in the guild? 5, 6? How many branches?
I legitimately think it's more than that.
Drexit.
I think we got probably closer to 8 or 9 mirrors. We had 2 mirrors in one run, and then we had 2 wither barks in another run, which was the untimed 17 that Barry. It was Barry, Tipsy, myself, Going, and I think it was Necro. So again, shout out to all those guys. You guys are doing an amazing job, and I cannot wait to see, particularly Necro. Of course, he's playing Marksman Hunter. I don't get to do keys with Marksman Hunters because I are one. So it's really refreshing to see him. Like he just got, for example, he just got his 2 set, and so he hasn't played Marksman in since Legion, BFA somewhere in there, and it's crazy. And to see him already, he gets his 2 set, and then boom, 30k DPS more the next run, and then we can kind of compare things and be like, okay, what if we tweak this? If this doesn't work for your play style, well, what about this? And then you see it pay dividends, and then he gets a Witherbarks like that. That's amazing, and I'm so glad to continue to push keys as a complete group to keep all that gear in there, because we don't want to give away our mirrors until I get one, right? That's fine. Well, so
went to Barry.
Just give it to Barry. He's got 2. It's fine.
Barry got a mirror.
Yeah.
Now he has 2.
I wish I had gotten mine after Balefire Branch. I could have traded it. I will use it as Devastation, but
trust me, as long as there are quantum rains in that dungeon and I don't have all of them, you best believe I'm going to be doing that. Plus, I want that weapon that has that time strike or whatever on it. It has a chance to do extra damage. I don't know how good it is, but more damage is never a bad thing.
Don't worry, we're gonna be in there a lot once our DHs realize that the Warglaive called Double Time in there has Time Strike on it, and you can get 2 of them.
Don't give them another reason.
Don't worry. Once they are like, wait a minute, what?
Huh? That's right,
We're
Nerf. If
getting
you're
in there.
watching this, we're talking to you. Anyway, so
I just want to do
maybe.
Pelican's Fall. I just want my scale.
The
That's all I
Queen,
want.
maybe.
no,
want
you
my
already
scale.
got your scale preseason. You're not getting another one. You
Yeah.
even called it.
Never. I know it's not gonna happen, but that's all I want. I'm just gotta try and get my scale. A 3rd season of trying to get a scale.
A scale, yeah. I mean, you'd think they'd name something different after a while, but you're like, no, more scales.
No.
Oh,
What's a good tank trinket?
A tank trinket scale. I guess
don't know.
it makes sense this go around because dragons, but maybe they come up with some other cool name instead of scale for something.
In season 1, it was also off of a Earthen Proto Drake. Putting that out there.
Oh, was it in
It was off of. It was out of Nakud.
Nakud? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. It was. Oh God, I really hope that we don't see if they do this meme season 4. I pray that Nakud is not one of them.
Let fly.
Hit-
Or like,
You don't
let
want
it
to do Nakud
die.
offensive again?
Well,
They're gonna-
technically yes, because here's my tangent for the
Tangent.
stream. I still don't have the mount, so
Yeah,
I
I don't have it.
Oh, yeah.
But don't worry, Barry's got like 6 of those breaths, and he
Because he-
I
can't
have to
trade
leave.
them. I got one by accident, which was
He
great.
just goes and like, all right, I'm gonna do this key 50 times.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, he got the scale. He got
Right.
that scale
So
on his.
oh, did he get it on his warrior already?
Yeah.
Good lord. Of course he did.
No.
Oh,
no. Season 1
original
scale.
one. Yeah,
Scale, yeah.
gotcha. So we've got several dungeons that are obviously new to a lot of people in our guild, and we actually just got done talking to another group. Or I was preparing for the recording, and so they were doing another key, and there were some people in that key. It's a Legion key, but they'd never done that before. So out of all the keys that we've seen so far, and I'll ask Zaft, then I'll ask Mr. OBS over here. What key do you guys in the first 2 weeks? So we've seen both sides, so tyrannical, and we've seen fortified. What key, just all things considered, so how the key works, the gear that it drops, what key do you like? What's top shelf, and what's beer in a can? Like, which one? I want both ends.
Oh my goodness.
Do you want to start after?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. So I surprisingly, I did not expect to like this one, and I think it was actually at the bottom of my list when we talked about this preseason, was Waycrest. I'm really enjoying Waycrest. I enjoy the consistency of it now. It feels easy. There aren't too many. There's only like one pack that like is really bad for bursting. I mean, this is a bursting week, so my mind's on bursting. But like even doing sanguine in that place wasn't that bad. Storming is gonna be fun, but I mean we'll figure that out how we get there. But like Waycrest has been one that I'm like, yeah, let's go Waycrest. And I think the reason I like Waycrest, I think this is the real reason that I like Waycrest, is that boss 2 is where I really get to flex. Because we just don't take him into the fire at all, and I just sit there and I tank him and I roll cooldowns, and if I do it correctly, I can tank that fight forever.
Which, by the way, will also be a Mythic Plus run that I am currently going to be working on that will be posted, so I'll be sure and put timestamps to that video in the description of that video.
And another one that kind of for the same reason of like I get to flex as a tank is Blackrock Holds. I've been really enjoying Blackrock Holds. I feel like I haven't done that much AD. I feel like we haven't done that much Atal Dazar these last 2 weeks.
We haven't been getting that key. We get one of the halves of infinites an infinite number of times. It bounces back and forth. I don't think we've got a ton of that key.
But still, I think still bottom of the barrel for me right now is Throne of Tides. I am not. I'll do Throne of Tides. They've made it easier. They've made it better, manageable. Still not a fan. Still.
So question for you: what is something that they could do that would move it up your list? Do you think?
Easy. Easy
uh,
one to answer for me.
make well dispellable or spell stealable again, or even just dispellable. You don't have to. Can't make it like. Don't make it spell stealable. Make it just dispellable. Makes or interruptible. Something to do with swell. That or the freaking it's that hallway up to the last boss that's a menace. Right. Everybody's been talking about how it's a menace, but like make that interruptible. Make the spellcasters, those chicks. I don't know. Group them up a little bit. Make them have literally any downtime between interrupts. Like the fact that I'll like interrupt something and they're like, "Well, let me just cast again." It's that's just rude, right? I hate mobs that do that. That are they're just turrets.
Or
It's
even
not
just give them a longer cast time. Give them a
a long cast time.
pyroblast cast time.
Yeah, because they're hitting you with pyroblast damage, so like,
with half the
please.
time. Yeah.
So Throne of the Tides is still pretty low for me. And I feel like I Ataldazar's, ugh, whatever. But either of the Dawn of the Infinites is like I think they're fine. Both of those I think are very mid.
Okay.
Personally.
All right, I think you're up.
What's up, Bush?
So,
What you got?
so a key that I wasn't really sure I would enjoy it as much, but I kind of am, is actually a tall desert. No, I'm just kidding. Screw that place.
I was like, whoa!
What a hot take.
No, no, I thought just both sides of Dawn were gonna be painful and just unfun because I don't know. Morchi is a big part of it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know Battlefield is a lot of fun for you, Greeley. I know you love tab targeting that fight.
Yeah.
It's
I don't do it anymore.
but it's actually been satisfying. It's been a satisfying key to complete both sides. When we've pulled off like good tier fights, good Iridicrons.
Yeah.
It's just felt good, a good key to run. But I have to say, they really erred on the side of making a horrible key with Throne, didn't they?
Yeah.
They really, it might be beating AD in my mind for worst key. Just straight up, that key, I don't know, it just doesn't feel fun at all, in my opinion. Like none of the bosses there feel satisfying. Not even the second boss, which they changed it around a little bit, and so there's like positioning and there's interesting ways to counter the oozes or whatever. But that boss just feels rough. He just knocks you around, and if like we had a run earlier this week where everything was going fine for like 80% of the boss's health bar, and then two people stood in the wrong spot for 10 seconds, and that wrong spot was in the water next to an expanding puddle that they couldn't see because it goes into the water puddle
yeah.
at the minute. And then so they took 2 ticks. He did the AoE. They died. We wiped. And like, yeah, okay, don't stand there. Ha, I know, but it's not fun. That doesn't feel fun. And in my opinion, that last boss is an atrocity. Full stop. How do you make a boss that has ink effects around it, that drops ink puddles, that you have to look around to find ink ads that blend in with the boss's body and his spell effects, and there's a giant water beam in there that you have to drag around, but it's not clear exactly if it's wiping all the... No, that boss is an atrocity. If I had to change something, I would, longer cast times on the Aqua Blasters. Forget that. Swell, forget that. Take all that out, fix that last boss. That last boss is awful. I hate it. I don't think it's a good fight. Mechanically, I don't think it's a good, well-designed fight.
Not to mention an ink-colored tank frontal that is massive.
Yeah.
It is a massive freaking tank frontal.
Also, are you kidding me? Are you telling me that if you make maybe like 2 mistakes, your melee is just suddenly out of the fight?
Yeah, can't play.
Are you kidding me? Like, come on.
Well, so I did a key with Tipsy tanking yesterday. Yeah, we did a bunch of keys yesterday, and we found out that when the water beams come out, sometimes if one person, like say for example, we're all three in the key, and Glitch and I have the water beams, we're better off just staying together and just beaming one thing at a time, because half the time it won't actually clear it, because we had a whole room full of stuff, and I have recordings of me standing in place and it not clearing anything.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
It's
what we
super hit or
found is
miss.
that, so let's say you have a puddle, right? And then somebody comes in and they drop ink on that puddle. Now you have two puddles there, right? And if you come over with the beam, one of them starts to shrink, and it's not going to affect this puddle until this puddle is completely gone.
Yeah. That
So like
great.
why?
I look that I will readily accept if we're doing something wrong. Maybe we are, but
Yeah.
there
Maybe we're
shouldn't
missing
be
something.
like what are we missing out of? Stand in puddle with beam until puddle disappears.
No.
We're killing
That's not
ads. Like
tons. Yeah, we're
the
interrupting
ads are not
them.
staying up that long.
Why do the ads need pyroblast style casts as well? Why do they spawn over there and then he's casting ink blast? Oh well, I guess Greeley's dead.
Yeah.
Yay!
No, that fight.
I
I
don't
understand
know how
why they
any tank that
redesigned it, but I don't know that it worked.
Yeah.
I don't know how any tank that doesn't have Gorfien's Grasp or Divine Toll deals with those ads.
Seriously.
I don't know how a druid's doing it. I don't know how a DH is
And
doing that, or a monk or a warrior. Like that's just
and that's with me. Like the times that we've done it, we've done that boss in the past. That's with me, like eagle eye when I see them. Like, where's the ink blast coming
yeah.
from? Just in case.
Yeah.
So that's with somebody keenly aware of that.
Yeah.
Because I know
Got my
exactly
back.
what you're thinking. Like, here he goes, he's casting.
He's doing the thing.
Yeah. So I don't know.
It's
That boss needs a rework, or we're doing something horribly wrong. You know, if we are, then I don't know. Make fun of us in the comments.
We just need to go check out the guide that Wowhead posts for each and every key. Duh.
That's right.
Nice and easy.
Just look up Dratnos' routes.
Yeah.
I will say, despite all of this, I don't
routes.
think I don't think that Throne of Tides is like undoable. I don't think like
Oh, no.
I think we need more gear, and I don't think it's untenable.
It's just
I don't,
awful.
Like, it's just bad. Yeah. It doesn't feel
just
good.
feels
I think I
bad.
It
agree.
just doesn't feel
Yeah.
fun.
It
Yeah.
just doesn't feel
Exactly.
fun.
All right. Well,
What about you, Greeley?
yeah, I was put on record, and I'm gonna piggyback on what you said, Zaf. But Waycrest Manor is my favorite. Aesthetically, it is very pleasing to me. I love the look of the dungeon. I have a great time, even when I'm dead. I have a great time in that dungeon. Unfortunately for me, there's only one good item that's really worth a crap in there. So that part feels bad, because at least with Freehold, like I had I want the ring, I want the dice, I want the belt, I want the boots, I want the mount. Got the mount.
booty.
Yeah, the booty. Like there was all these things that, in addition to being my favorite dungeon to play, my rewards were also there. So it felt real good. Where I don't have that in Waycrest, but it's right now. But it's still my favorite. I would say probably a close second. Maybe it's just because it's super fresh, but it would be the Everbloom. I really enjoyed that, but that's also a key where I can just I'm the damage dealer of the group here. I mean, I guess not that Galakron Glitch isn't augmenting, but I want to see the numbers, and there's a crap ton of stuff that I can kill in there. It can also burst and kill me, but it can still be killed. So
did you log that Everbloom, by the way?
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay, because I want to check that. I think I ended that with like 120k DPS. So
yeah, I mean I have it saved too. I still have the stuff set up,
blasting.
so I'll go look. So Waycrest is my favorite. If I was a survival hunter, it would probably be a little bit higher up than number 1 on my list. I'd at least have a reason to go in there for Blight Reaver. Is it Reaver? Reaver, yeah.
Reaper?
Reaper, yeah, it's Reaper. You're right. I actually have one of those. If you guys checked out my update video, somehow got one. Anyway, but I'd say my least favorite, and this is This is going to change. It'll most likely be Tides by the time we're done, like with portal runs. But for me right now, it's Dawn of the Infinites Galakrond's Fall. Because we have not had a lot of luck with the second boss. The Time Ways boss.
Yeah.
That is something that has, including me, so no, not saying anything, where we have not had a lot of success on that yet. It's a very simple fight, meaning stand in the dark pie slices until you, and then dodge the bullet time that comes out. You can go into one or the other to dodge around that. If you get the dot on you, go to the light patches, get dispelled, go back into the dark patches. That's the fight for a DPS at least. But the fact that everything can kill you, and if one person does, if something times out in the wrong section, you have to then use a big cooldown to avoid the big damage that's slowly creeping towards you. Oh, by the way, while the floor is moving, and also the bullet time is there to kill you, and yeah, you have a bad time. That coupled with the fact that there's no good drops for me in there. There's some items that will be good for hero track, but that's it. There's no good drops for me. But I will say, Galakrond, Iridikron, that's a great marksman hunter fight. Arguably, maybe the best marksman hunter, because he always stays in my careful aim zone, and I have the new Hunter's Mark buff.
Probably competes with Dev Volker. That'd be the only only person.
Yeah.
The only person that I think can compete.
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't think about that. But
but Hunter's Mark probably pushes it beyond because it stops being a 1% over the course of the fight.
Yeah, because it's just a flat 5% at that point. Yeah.
So that it probably beats it just on that.
And that fight isn't too difficult. I mean, there's just a lot of if you don't do the mechanic, you die. But they're I don't want to say use the term simple because they're not, but it's just get the big circle, go to Chromie. After that happens, go behind Chromie. Your tanks with Chromie, and you're fine. And then here comes all the rocks towards you. Just dodge those. Just sidestep, and then ads come out, and that sort of thing.
I think that Iridikron is one of those fights that it's unique, because I was just thinking, I was like, oh man, I get to flex as a tank on that, because I get to I get to pick up these you okay over there?
Did you get a proc?
Big Brandon just got an infinite hand.
Hey.
Yo,
let's go.
All right. But I'm like, oh, I was like, I get to kind of flex as a tank, because I get to stand in front of Chromie, and then I get to pick up the ads and a very paladin kind of way, make these kind of calls. But then I was like, oh, but then there's that entire phase where I just have to keep up with the damage. I have to put out damage, and I have to it's a DPS race. These other two things, but I feel like as a fight, that's cool that it had that has those okay, now it's time for the tank to shine, and the healer gets to shine and heal up Chromie, and now the DPS get to shine because it's a DPS race. That's a pretty cool. That's a well designed fight, I think.
Even if I say Galakrond the Galakron's Fall is my least popular or least favorite right now, at least, that fight, Iridikron fight, is probably top 3, 4 for me.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I do really like that fight. And it's very pleasing to watch. From when I do a recording, I'm like, oh yeah, make sure you go do this, and you do this, and you can see things the dominoes are falling as you're doing the fight, and you're like, oh look, I'm holding this cooldown and doing all this. And I appreciate fights like that aren't just pedal to the metal all the time. There's a little bit of nuance in there, and otherwise you dead. So
I think Zaf, did you and I have a banger Galakron's Fall with somebody
that
did. Really wasn't in?
Yeah.
I vaguely remember having a really good manifested time waste, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
And that did a lot for me to be like, yeah, this key feels good.
Oh yeah. No, that was one that we did with Cowpow. I think it was Going. And
if I can get to the point where I feel confident with that fight in particular, we're good. And then that will be probably, like you said, mid-tier for me, personally. And then Tides can take its rightful place at the bottom.
It was it was me, Cow
Take his
Pow,
place on
you,
the throne.
Oddwin, and Twisted.
Hmm.
That's what it was. It was Oddwin and Twisted that we had a really good.
I will say that fight is one fight in particular. I guess we're going to talk about Everbloom a lot. The council fight where I am very cognizant that I need to be close. I need to be within 25 yards. And that fight, yeah, it's easy for me to be like, oh, I can dodge the orbs, the bullet time by standing all the way to the back or close to the back. But that fight pushes me forward. I have to, and it's helping me as a player because we have different flavors of evokers in our group, and both of them need me to be not at my 51 yard. No, I'm just kidding. It's capped out at 40. It's capped out at 48 now, or until you get to higher mastery, 49 maybe. But anyway, yeah, like that fight is only going to help me as a player. It's going to push me up closer to the action where I need to be, and then also to be more reactive because of that. So there's always good things.
I will say, across the board, because I think it's funny that we like came into the season and we were like not super stoked about it. You know what I mean? Especially coming off of season 2. I think that was the problem. We were coming off of season 2. A lot of things that we were like. And Vortex Pinnacle, yeah, let's go, and like, Underrot's coming back, and Freehold, like, yeah, these are all bangers of keys, and then to just be like, freaking Atal Dazar and Waycrest, Throne of the Tides, are you kidding me?
I'm just saying, couldn't they have given us one of those bad keys last season, and then to kind of even it out, and then
just swap it out?
Yeah.
But I will say, like, 2 weeks in, I'm on board. I'm digging it. If Throne of the Tides that's our least favorite key, and the rest of the keys were kind of like, pretty good. I think Atal Dazar is Atal Dazar, but
yeah.
I
mean, I'm just saying, we just do our portal runs for Atal Dazar, and then Throne of the Tides. We never darken their door again. That's fine by me.
I don't think it'll be.
The way I see it is, by this point in the season, in one of the seasons in Shadowlands, I think it was season 2, we had already established the terrible 3 pillars of misery. And we're not there. We're not there at all. No. Thankfully, we're not there.
And none of these keys are iron. What is it? Iron Depot?
Iron Docks.
Grimrail?
Grimrail. There we go. I'm putting them together. Grimrail is one of those keys where I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. And I held true to that at the end of last expansion. So none of these are to that point. And honestly, Grimrail wasn't even that bad. I just had terrible experiences every time until we got our portal, and then I was like, "Yep, I'm out of here. See ya." No good things dropped for me.
Throne of Tides is some big Sanguine Depths vibes for me personally.
See, but I can't even say that because by the end of the expansion, Sanguine Depths was a genuinely fun key to do for me.
Oh.
It got there. Admittedly, they changed a lot about that dungeon, and a lot of it was to make it easier, sure. Yeah. But it got there, when it didn't feel completely merciless to walk up to the second boss in that stupid ring and be like, okay, do it? Or is somebody going to get comboed within the span of a half a second?
All right, who's driving? We're going this way. Yeah.
Is someone going to be looking left and go left? But it was right, and I guess you're dead now.
Yeah.
Or you don't pick up enough orbs in third boss, and you just goodbye.
I don't have my Necrolord shield to save me now.
How many orbs is the right amount? Well, what key level are you at?
Yeah, exactly.
What cooldowns do you have?
Yeah.
You know that math? You have to.
If I could do that fight with a bubble taunt, we'd be sitting pretty. Be so many more orbs for everybody to pick up.
That is true.
So many more.
So little bit of a tangent on that one. That was one of my high keys that I did in Shadowlands, where I did that as a 23. Had I have not been Necrolord, no. Absolutely
Non-existent.
not. That fight is 4.5 minutes on Tyrannical. I could literally almost turtle 3 times in that
Jeez.
fight, and every time it was like, okay, this person gets 4 orbs plus their defensive, and then okay, Greeley is going to use turtle, so he's going to get no orbs. This person's going to get this, this, and this. Next
Yeah.
person, they're going to bubble this person while also doing this XYZ thing, and it was just miserable. It was still a fun key, like Glitch said. By the time it was over with, and also you have to think about it. We're still pretty low geared, all things considered.
That's
Like
true.
we are going to be getting in here with like 10 more item levels in what, 2 or 3 weeks at this point, maybe a month at the absolute worst, and we're going to be hopefully bowling over these things. We're going to have more health, more main stat, which means more damage, more experience, and we're
Mhm.
going to blow over these 17s, 18s, 19s as we're getting closer to our 20s and maybe even beyond for some people.
Also, I'm not sure about this, but there's a chance the Helm enchant will also work in keys.
I didn't
I
think
don't
about
see
that.
why. I don't see why it wouldn't. It would work out in the world in PTR, right? So
Yeah.
maybe they change. I don't see why they would change that, but
Yeah.
that thing, it's not crazy, but it is strong.
Yeah,
Like it is
gotcha.
just here you go. Here's more AOE. Here you go. Here's more healing. The tank one is pretty beefy. Like that's significant. So
Mhm.
Helm enchant on top of all the other gear, trinkets, upgrades, blah blah blah, tier set, Helm enchant as well.
Yeah. And I
So-
guess for those of you guys that don't know about the Helm enchant, it is actually from killing bosses in Raid, which is, I guess, a pretty good segue for moving over to Raid of our little section of our chit chat here. Yeah, segue. But so basically, it's a capped amount of what is it? What's the stuff called? Ephemera.
Echoed ephemera.
Ephemera.
So
There you go.
if you have a quest, if you've been raiding and you have a quest in your logs called the Power of Dreams, and you've looted a couple of items from a couple of the bosses, and you're sitting on this looking at it like, how do I finish this quest? It's gated. You can only get, I believe it's 10 per week, 10 ephemera per week, and bosses will steadily drop that until you reach that cap. Also, it was a little busted at the beginning of the raid tier launch, but if you got a in-game mail today with ephemera, that's why you got that. It's because they're fixing it. And then I guess the plan is in a few weeks, if they don't change this cadence, it'll be 5 weeks in, where you'll be able to complete it. And then, if there isn't like a next step or something like that, I don't know.
Well, it's almost like a 5-week soft nerf.
Yeah. That's exactly what it's intended to be. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is better than the whole like, after a month, everything is 5% less health, does 5% less Dragon Soul, does all this stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so everybody will have that. It's not, to my understanding, it's not one use. You can you get an item and you can keep reapplying it again if it works like it did on the PTR.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that. So yeah, everybody will just have a very strong power boost for no reason here in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And if it works in keys,
be huge.
And I'm assuming you can probably get this even out of LFR. I'm assuming.
I don't know. I think so, but I don't know.
Sure.
Yep.
Well, either way, if you guys are not somebody who raids every week, at least jump into LFR, try to get some of your tier pieces, and maybe you get some of that ephemera and you start working on that. I don't know if there's a catch-up mechanic associated with, but I do know that currently at the end of week 2, 20 of 50 is the max, like Glitch said, so 10 per week right now. And then hopefully, if you guys do and you don't have 20, you got some mail like I did, because I got 6 of them in the mail today. So I think I was the big winner, because I was at 14 of 50 for quite some time. And that had to do with the first week as well.
I actually, I was looking at my mail. I don't have 20, nor did I get mail.
Oh, no.
So,
What?
the streak continues.
Yeah.
What claw? What ephemera?
Uh-huh.
It's not a big deal.
Well, see, that's a frustrating thing, because for first week 1, I guess it's been just a little bit since we've recorded. But week 1 we went 9 of 9 normal and 1 of 9 heroic, which, if I'm not mistaken, we kind of talked about this off recording. this might be like the second time Zaft has done the disappear. He will
Yes.
return momentarily. But yeah,
So it's been a while. Yeah, it has been a while since we full clear a normal like that.
mhm.
Just for a myriad of reasons, right? Gear, people coming back, whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
But we're slamming it. We went in with a lot more gear than we have previously this tier. That helped.
And that's
Um,
definitely thanks to people pushing themselves in Mythic Plus.
yep.
It wasn't
Yep.
just the same usual suspects as it has been
Yep.
in previous seasons.
Which is happening even more now. Shout out to guildmates, fucking killing it right now. Let's
Yes.
go. But yeah, so we haven't done it in a while. I think it's been a while, but I think the last time was EN, was Emerald Nightmare. I think, and even that is a maybe. I think we might have made it to Cenarius and not gotten Xavius. That's because we got distracted with with killing Ninth Ender or something. But
Yeah, but it's been quite some time, and it's not something.
it's been a while.
And
now.
not to say that we couldn't do it, but we are a Tuesday Wednesday guild, and normally this last time was an exception. We usually lose like half of our raid night the first night because servers are weird or whatever. But no, we went in there, we got the full raid time, guns blazing, people with high item levels for normal content. Like we were already passing some gear maybe for people. Like we were ready to go, and it definitely showed. And I guess so that was week 1, and then flash forward to this last week, which was week 2, and we went again 9 of 9 normal. We did that on the first night, whereas the night or the week before that we did, I think it was 8 of 9, and then we went Fire Rack, and then Gnarl Root. Where this time I think we went all the way up 1 of 9 heroic, so 9 of 9 and 1 of 9 the first night. Then Agara, is that her name? Agara?
Yeah.
Igira.
Yeah. Like
She gave us a lot of trouble week 1. We kind of had a meme kill on her. We had a lot of people dead. Whatever, we still killed her. But we were literally seeing like 30% boss health improvement from 1 week. And that is a huge shout out, like Glitch said, to our guild. We had literally like 12 to 15 people wanting to do keys, which is literally like an unheard of thing. Where it used to be like these 6 people, because it was never just 5, it would always be 6 wanted to do a key. And then now where it's like it's spreading, we're doing very well, and then it's definitely showing in raid. And I don't know about you guys, but I've really enjoyed the raid so far. It does feel kind of nice to just roll over some things, and there are some bosses that maybe don't have as much teeth as they should, but they're gonna have in heroic. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes, and we are all thinking of the same boss. He's a little hot under the collar, I guess you could say. But we
That's all of them.
not
They're
all of
all
them.
on the call.
They're
all made of fire.
The Council of Dreams.
Oh,
they're
Nimue
not...
and the
Realistically,
and the
there's
council.
there's only 2 bosses that don't have some fire mechanic.
Fine.
Which is the nature
It's
wing.
Smolder on. That's what we're talking about. But what we talked about it week 1. Like, okay, we're looking at raid starting. What is your favorite boss going to be? And I'll start off. Tendril is still probably my favorite. I really like that fight. The dragon riding doesn't feel like it's just a gimmick. Like it does, it makes sense. Like, oh, he's trying to get away. You go, and it works. It does. And it was really fun, by the way, watching the mythic race on that fight. They banged their head against that fight for so long, but you'll even listen to them afterwards, their comments. It took 400 and some attempts, but man, was it a fun encounter. And that's something that I'm seeing even just on the normal version. But then the Fire Rack fight, I enjoy it. Feels like a really nice fight. I said that I hoped it would be, and I figured it would be, and I think it delivered. So I'll let you guys say what you think was their favorite.
I do like the Fire Rack fight. I like Tendril. I think that it's that it has the moments for the tanks to be really effective. I think me and Tipsy are really finding the rhythm to Tendril in the second week. I think for the first week we kind of like floundered a lot. And then second week we figured out what we actually needed to do. Fire though feels real good as a tank, and especially when we killed it. Um, we so the fire tank mechanic is deal damage to you, and I'm gonna continue to like stack up this thing that continues to deal higher and higher damage, and it never goes away in third phase. There's other stuff going on with the tanks that it feels like a bit like Sarkarath that has like these really cool interactions. Um, but at the end, I was like, I just want to see how high I can get this stack. I'm just gonna tank as long as possible. I'm just gonna just go into it, and it took us right to the end. And then second week, Tipsy was like, "Hey, can I do that? Can I, can I take the boss?" She was like, "You took it for third phase, and then I didn't really have to do anything, which was great." She was like, "But like, can we swap off?" So it might
That's
be the thing that we start doing, where like third phase, like every week, it's like, all right, this is Zap's week to do it. This is Tipsy's week. I guarantee.
that's why we're gonna do on heroic. You know why? Because then Tipsy's gonna tank the boss for the entire time, and then Zaft will take out the fire axe. Ah!
Yes.
Come there with a steel
Let's
chair.
go!
That'll be so awesome.
So I'm actually enjoying Fire-Ak. Weirdly enough, Council of Dreams in normal was like it was like cool, but like as a tank, like you don't do too much. And heroic, I'm doing a lot more. Uh, but it's still not it's not as fun as I thought it was gonna be as a tank.
Dude, our week 1 pull, like they were just crap everywhere. Like, what are we doing? What's going on? I watched the recording back, and I'm just like, what is happening?
I do think
So,
my favorite pull that we had on Council of Dreams, I think it was our last pull that we did, where we got to the dragon that we needed a spot to
Dragon
stand.
Song, yeah.
And yeah, we got to the end of Dragon Song, but everybody cleared out all the grass. And it was literally just all of us just sitting there with like our hands in our pockets, and we were like,
Well, I
well,
guess we'll die.
goodbye. That's it.
The funny-
We
Thanks for
lose.
coming to raid tonight, guys.
the funny part,
Like,
and I
that's
want
funny.
I want you to visualize this from my point of view, right? So I'm looking at timers because I'm making calls. I
Yeah.
know song is coming, right? So I see it coming. I look at plans, and we have over 10, and I'm like, okay, we're
No
chilling.
worries.
I don't need to say anything here. I see the ducks go out. Song starts casting. We're at 5, and I'm like, okay, let me start saying something about the plans. While I'm pressing the button, I see the 5 go 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm like,
No!
and then while I'm saying something, the plant is dead center in the circle, like in the room, it's dead center. And as I'm saying something, I see just the flock of ducks. And I'm just like, please no, don't. And then somebody eats it. Song of the Dragon.
It
We're all
was
dead.
so good.
You couldn't have wrote that any better.
I could no. I wish I was recording because I'm sure you could see my camera like no. But
And
that
then,
happens,
then
you
at
know.
the end, you're just like,
Yeah,
That's it.
it's
see
it
you
was
next
it-
week.
Hands in pockets, you know. Here it is.
which is
That was
which
a
is
good
great.
pull too. That was a really
Yeah.
good pull.
That was our
such a
last
good
pull of the night, by the way.
Yeah.
It was the last pull of the night, and which is funny because like as a tank, like we're just trying to focus to make sure that he's like facing the right direction. We're making sure that the Ursoc or whatever his name is facing the right direction. That's it.
It's
But then
Ursoc.
we're like, we're like, okay, we just get so we're not really like paying attention to literally anything else. We don't have to worry about like that kind of stuff. And it was one of those things that like we're just like doing stuff over here, and then we're just like, all right, time to how. Oh no. Like,
Isn't there
okay.
supposed to be something on the
Yeah.
floor?
We're missing
Yeah,
something.
corpses, because we're all dead.
Literally 2 pulls ago, we had like 35 stacks. What happened? What do we do? What do we do? What do we get super efficient overnight?
Well,
What?
the best thing is that Glitch had said probably like, I think we were like,
Talked
we
about
only
it.
did like 6 or 7 pulls because it was towards the end of the night on this fight.
Yep.
But he had literally said, oh hey, well, looks like we can, or somebody else had said, hey, it looks like we can duck more people and then we can go clear, because we had like 35 or something. And Glitch said, I'm not going to ask people to do that because there will be a scenario where we get too good and it happens literally 2 pulls later and you're just like, this is why we're not doing this. This is why.
Look, I'll be honest. There will probably be a time,
Yeah.
where whatever, somebody died as a duck or something, and then we'll be like, oh, we're ahead in plants. We need to cleanse a few more.
Yeah.
Sure. And at least as best as I can tell, a good time is right after Erictos's enrage, or not enrage, but his ability.
Yeah.
So we've used the extra duck. Maybe we just take that opportunity to do it then, but not before a Song of the Dragon. Before a Song of the Dragon, we need them. Just don't do it then. And if there's been a lot of other ducks, we probably need people to be like, okay, chill, relax with the eating. We need them. But that fight's just gonna roll like that a little bit until everybody's used to the cadence of, oh, it's minute 2:45. I know this duck is coming. I know this song is coming. I know we have this many plants because Glitch is yelling in my ear about it.
Well, I think that is going to be the fight we're going to get hit with the berry effect.
We're gonna get buried hard on that one.
That's just kind of how it's going to work.
Yeah.
And for those of you guys who didn't figure it out, we call it the berry effect because it'll be a boss that we've killed a million times, and we just, for whatever reason, like we'll have killed Fyrak. We're just going in trying to get chances at legendary axes, that sort of thing. And no, we'll like bang our head on it for like 2 hours, where we don't need to do that.
Okay, we'll just turn our brains off, and then we'll like forget that there was like an Armageddon that we were supposed to soak or something, or like like the boss will, I don't know, we're just like, all right, group 1, and then it's like nobody soaks anything. Like it's something like that. Or not enough people do this. Everybody ignores the spears on Igara or something. Like I guarantee you, it's.
Don't worry, I already know I have the DPS's attention for Smolderon. I already said the magic words, soak equals damage. Monkey sees action.
Alright, they're gonna want that.
Don't worry, they know.
So that kind of leads into my next section. We're going to talk about what boss we think will give us the most trouble. And I think we're kind of collectively said it's going to be Smolderon. And like we said earlier, normal, there's stuff going on, but we bowled over at week 1 and we're like, oh, so this is Smolderon. All right, never mind. Like, doesn't have as much teeth. No, they saved those teeth for heroic. So I fully expect to be hanging out at Smolderon for quite some time.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's gonna be a brick wall. I to put it this way, in normal, I can already feel people getting bored of that fight. We are on week 2, and when we went in this time, I'll admit, we went in week 2, and I was like, hey, I forgot that we spawn orbs that deal damage, that like increase our damage. Oops. Like for the first one, Glitch called people out. He was like. Quickly, I'm just gonna ask. He's like, I'm just gonna ask. Is there anybody who did not soak their orbs? And I know that Glitch is asking this to bring attention to the subject. He is not trying to call people out. He's not trying to. He's not trying to be an asshole about it. But
I
when
already
it comes,
know who didn't soak.
Yeah, exactly. You're asking that question because you already know. Yeah, you already know who didn't happen. Nobody on the DPS is going to step up and say, I fucked up, Glitch, I'm sorry, because they feel like it's going to put them potentially on the chopping block should it come down to it. It doesn't come down to that.
Some
I know.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Some did.
Oh, okay. But in the fight, I was like, nobody said anything, and I stepped forward and I said, I'll be honest, Glitch, I completely forgot about that mechanic. For the first one, I did start soaking I soaked every single orb from that on, but that was that. And that's how I know that heroic is going to be a pain in the ass. Because we're going to get in there after doing it on normal for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we're going to be like, nice and easy, just got to soak my orbs, and it's going to be Oh my god, that's all I need.
Heroic.
That's how it's gonna go.
Heroic, smolder. Look, I'll be honest with you, right? Like, so I've looked at what appears to be the changes to Heroic Fire Act. Obviously, not everybody's like fully updated yet with guides or whatever, which is my only real source of information right now. So we're not up there yet, right? But it looks to be one mechanic and how it interacts with the rest of the fight, broadly speaking, right? I think we can handle that. Tindril, he's got a couple other curveballs, but I think Tindril's going to be one of those fights where we'll get to phase 1, get buzzsawed for a little bit, learn it, and then move on to phase 2, get buzzsawed for like it's gonna be a sequence. It's not gonna be that bad. Smolderon is all gas, no brakes the entire fight. And it is not just the tanks are getting blasted. Oh, there's a lot of healing. No, it's all of it, and everybody has to have like, in 5 seconds I need to be here. In 10 seconds I need to be there. In 15 I need to be here. I need to pop my cooldowns at 20, not 25 because I don't have orbs in, not 30 because I'm dead if I'm like it's all gas, no brakes for that. And if the tuning is favorable, maybe that won't be an issue. I don't think it's going to be for us in terms of tuning. I think we are gonna. It's gonna be hard. That fight is going to stonewall us a little bit, and it's just because everyone's positioning matters at all times. At all times. And there's a hint, just a hint of RNG, just a little bit. Not really, but, the people that get selected first versus second, that type of thing, that's going to add up. That's going to add up. It's just another wrench,
I think admittedly what will help is this is a unique season that we're actually coming into with more people actively getting Mythic Plus gear.
That's true.
So I think that it's going to help, but that's not going to save you if you just stand in a flame wave. You know what I mean? You don't soak this or you soak that at the wrong time. It's not gonna matter no matter how good your gear is. So I think it'll help for like the bigger damage profile, help for speeding the fight along, making sure that we don't run out of space. I don't think we'll die to running out of space. But I think we will die to something. We'll be dying to those kind of things of like mismanaging defensive and offensive cooldowns.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna. It's gonna be a little bit of a trial,
Yeah.
Oh, also, we're stoning on that fight, Theft.
We're what?
You're using Warren Stone.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's a heroic has a. Actually,
I have to run it out.
Does normal have to run out? I don't think so.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, and Tipsy can just Hey.
She is. Yeah, she has her own word.
Yeah, so we're stoning you up for that one. At least for someone, right?
Yeah.
So
If it deals fall off damage,
it does.
But we'll have to play around if I can bubble it, and if bubble will just negate all the damage, or if it'll be like, all right, I'm just gonna bubble and I'm in the middle of the raid and we all die and we say, all right, well, we learned something today.
I think it's that one, but I don't know.
Yeah. Most of the time it is, but sometimes.
And unfortunately, and this is one of the last things I'll say about it, one of the final things that will trip us up for that fight is people are going to have to learn which stupid red swirly is which. Because they're all red swirlies, but one red swirly drops the puddle, the other one doesn't. That one's important, and you need to know when it's coming out, and you need to not confuse them.
Yeah. Very true.
Well,
that sucks.
That kind of reminds me of the third boss, the council boss in Throne of Thunder way back when. There were 2 circles that you would get on you, but you had to figure out which one was which. One was good that you wanted to group up, and one was bad you wanted to stay away. And I know when my guild was doing progression on Illidan for that fight, it was such a pain. Is that the third boss? Fourth boss? Doesn't matter.
That's third.
It's third. Just Tortos is fourth. But yeah, it was just not a fun experience. So I'm hoping that we don't have that issue with Smolder on. But I guess, do you guys, how many weeks out are we talking, you think, before we get to Smolder on? We're going to get some more power creep this next week. Got 2 vaults behind us. Had some people doing some baller keys, by the way. We all 3 have 480 items waiting for us in our vaults, by the way. Where do you think we're going to stand? Like, you think we're going to... I personally think we're going to get at least 4 of 9, 5 of 9. You think we're going to get up to Smolder on in a couple weeks? Maybe see a poll this next coming week?
I think this is a conservative guess, but or like a safe one, but I think we'll see Smolder on for sure before Helmet Champ. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
I think I can agree with that.
I think we have a strong chance of killing him before Helmet Chan as well. Even if it's going to be pretty difficult, but because I mean Helmet Chan is, 3, I guess next week, 2 weeks away, but that's 3 weeks of gear, 3 vaults, 3 aspect crest increases, worm crest increases. What? 1, maybe 2 crafted items away. I don't remember. That's a lot of gear. That's a lot of time for people to get used to the fight. I don't think Council survives this next reset.
Oh, absolutely not.
Not a chance.
I think if we would have had another 2 or 3 pulls, it would have went down this last week.
And I agree. And I think Nimue is going to be that fight where we're going to get surprised by the damage in certain areas, and then we're going to blink on 1 pull, and it's going to die. Just like that. Once everybody finds their spot in that fight, and they can just blast for the first 30 seconds or whatever with Bloodlust and cooldowns, I think Nimue dies. Laradar might give us a little bit of, trouble.
I just want to shout out anybody who uses DBM. They fixed that terrible, terrible sound effect. Oh my god! Gave me like instant migraine. I was great.
That was awesome.
Laradar, I think will go a little easier. In Nimue, I'm thinking, I think like the first 2 or 3 pulls, I think we'll just see melee fall over, before they really focus to make sure that they do not get hit by those beams. They are playing way too close to her. I know that they are. I love them all to death. But God, give Nimue some room. Give Nimue or Naimu, whatever the fuck her name is. Give her some room. Give yourself some room. Don't get hit by the beams.
In particular, they're going to be doing some running out too. If you haven't looked at Heroic and Nimue, there's a mechanic you got to run out. It actually, Zaft, you know exactly what mechanic it is. The bomb. It's kind of just an extension of that to a couple other people.
Oh, excellent.
So they're going to be running out, and which, by the way, we're definitely going to have the comedy hour, drop of that bomb somewhere where it definitely does not need to be. That's going to happen. I expect to see a video with Benny Hill music playing in Greeley's channel if that happens.
I'm giving them at most 3 pulls to figure it out. At most.
But it should be all right after that.
Yeah. No.
I'm more worried about Laradar than I am of Nimue, and I'm way more worried about Smolderon than I am of most anything else. Yeah. To be honest.
Then the only thing that I'm not terribly worried about Laradar is because the charge doesn't do too much to both me and Tipsy. I feel like we're doing pretty good on that, and our heal team is incredible. So no matter what, our heals have always carried.
I'll say it time and time again. They are the backbone of our guild, and one of the reasons why we've never missed an AOTC as a guild since we reformed in Legion.
They're
heals.
By the time we actually killed Fyrak, because I try and use like my lay on hands to top off an ad that's really low. By the time we were getting a kill in, I was like turning to the ads, and I'm like, I would waste a lay on hands on these guys. They're all like 75%. I don't know what to do. Like, wait, like I either have to hit them right away, or I'm just like, I'd be wasting one.
I need to remind our raid group, our healers in particular, or obviously, right? But just anybody that can do this, they can be manipulated by like life grips, rescue, that type of thing works on friendly ads. That's actually very important. It also works on Laradar.
Okay.
So I have some tech. Yeah,
That's
I
out
have
at
some
this
tech.
point.
And well, I'm not gonna get into detail here, but there's some things I have to keep in mind for our raid group for this and for the next couple of resets of interesting stuff we can do.
Yeah.
But the lay on hands thing, that's a heads up play. It reminded me of that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely. Well, so everybody saw that Mythic Fyrakk is now defeated, and that means the legendary axe starter item can now drop. We're not entirely sure if it's going to be an actual drop that can be rolled on, or if it's going to end up being personal loot like the gem that started the claw in Aberrus. But we don't have any questions
What
from
claw?
you guys. Yeah, what claw? I know. The claw that Cowpow has. But we have quite a few people that could potentially use the two-handed strength axe.
Oh yeah.
We don't have questions from you guys at the email, which is ggzquestions@gmail.com. It will be found down in the description of the video. So my question to both of you, who do you think is going to, assuming it's personal loot, like it has been in the past, or the other legendaries, who do you think is going to get the legendary
If we all
item
wrote down the
first?
same name, I'm gonna die.
I know you and I did it, Zeft.
Yeah.
For sure. Guaranteed.
Okay,
Oh.
well, everybody wrote it down.
I don't know
Oh
if you
yeah.
can read this on here.
All right, well, who's getting it first, or who wants to show?
On the count of go. 3, 2, 1, go.
It says
Oh, it's backwards.
Pinoy.
I forgot about that.
Oh, it is. I said.
Yeah, let's go.
You said
Oh.
Pinoy.
I'm convinced Pinoy's gonna get it.
Onward the Crusade, baby.
I-
Let's go.
I would love it.
Crusade. Come on,
Yeah.
Zaft. What are you doing?
No,
Really?
but
Stop this man.
I know.
I forgot it was gonna be backwards.
Have you
Yeah, I
not
did too,
known
no.
Pinoy's luck?
Wait a minute,
Pinoy's
here, I'll see if I can fix it.
Pinoy's insano luck out of nowhere.
That's true.
Pinoy's got that insano luck.
Or is it the X Factor?
The X Factor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
could be mono.
no. Can I do the extreme sadness take?
No, I still did it wrong.
Oh, the win.
Oh,
The
yeah.
extreme sadness thing. I get it. because
that
I've been secretly rolling ret specialization.
That wouldn't be it.
It wouldn't be it.
sadness.
I need to I need to stay tank spec so that way I can get Fyrakk the trinket.
Odd win.
Yeah.
But either way, whoever ends up getting it, it's going to be a huge congrats to them, and it's going to literally take like a freaking village effort to even get the average player this thing. If you guys are not
to help those people.
Yeah, if you guys are not farming for scales from the Cobra in the Zaralek Caverns on your Skinners, you're doing that wrong. Glitch, by the way, we need to do that before you go to bed. These things are nuts right now, like 65 to 85k. I haven't seen prices today, but all mine
They've gone down, but they're
is much, yeah. But it takes roughly, probably on a good day, 350k. You're probably looking at more like 650k gold. Almost two tokens worth, maybe even 3. So $60 to end up actually buying all the mats and then doing the quest line, all that stuff. Will it be worth it? Yeah, probably, because it's a freaking sweet looking weapon. But that's just a ton of mats. So I've kind of started a little stash, little bits and pieces here and there of things that whoever get it will need, they will be gifted once it becomes available. But it literally will take this. It's even me, for example. I'm an avid gold hunter, farmer, collector, you name it, whatever. I don't have that sort of mats laying around, and that's not something that I easily come by either. So we're gonna see. We have 2 votes for Odwin. For the Crusade, we have 1 point for Pinoy, which is also a great guess, actually. I didn't even think about him.
Man,
Can you imagine?
Out the ass.
Yeah, can you imagine what's going to happen with PI on him? Got that blazing axe going, got his entire minion horde behind him, and he's just going to absolutely massacre things.
Bunch of MAGA smooks in the background throwing shadow bolts.
Yeah.
You're gonna see. He's gonna lift it up in the air. It's freaking the undead are coming out.
Forget about
3, 2, 1.
Shadowborn. I've got this.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh,
The rest of the raid just behind them, just having a smoke. Like,
yeah,
you got it.
Is he done yet, or yeah? But
can we fight now? All
right.
right.
PI is over. The boss has 10% health. Okay, go. But either way, this is gonna be it's gonna be a fun rest of the tier. We may not do like an update every single week for raid. We'll have other things to talk about. Believe it or not, there is a crap ton going on in World of Warcraft, Season of Discovery. Maybe we'll have people playing that. I'm not sure yet. Got 10.2, got Season 3 of Dragonflight Mythic Plus. Got so much more, but I think this is probably a good spot to end, unless you guys have anything else you wanted to mention before we wrap this thing up.
No, I'm good.
No? All right.
No. Oh.
Well, you guys heard it from them. I just want to thank you guys so much for checking out this recording. It's always a pleasure to get with these guys to shoot the crap for a couple hours. Obviously, we do it a lot longer than that. It's more like 3 or 3.5 if you cut out the beginning and the end. But again, it's a pleasure to do it with these guys. I hope you guys will consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, and follow me over at Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Eggplant. I personally have a lot more videos coming out, hardcore Mythic Plus runs featuring both of these beautiful gentlemen here, and then so much more, including raid. Live raid should be starting on Tuesdays. I'm not going to do both days. It's just too much for me right now, but I will be going back to streaming. So you'll see a lot of our re-clears, and maybe that'll be a lot more fun for you guys at home. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.